The Immortal Mask, a 1970s superhero crime noir adventure, follows a retired soldier turned reporter who is given a coveted interview with a death row inmate. What he learns thrusts him into Atlanta's shadowy underworld. He'll have to use his military training to survive being hunted for possessing the information that could topple the city's most powerful ruling class. This is not a pre-order or a crowdfunding campaign. Get your books now at denali's.com.
Entertainment Group presents the Madness Comic Network with original programming and additional comic-related content.
At a cursed crossroads where souls collide, see the Prince of Darkness, see the Prince of Lies, while the world lies sleeping and the moon's aglow. They may meet with the devil, you know, when your heart is quaking and your soul can't rest. Open up the pages of the devil you know best. People face their demons as each tale unfolds, but the devil's in the details, and their fate's been sold. Hear their fate's been sold, and they're lost to hell. That's the deal you have to make with the devil you know well.
And let's play it with the volume, because I'll bet I didn't share the screen with the volume on. So we will do that again. Stop the screen, present the screen, because it deserves to have the volume on, right? Yes. Okay, also share the tab audio. Maybe I did it, but last time I didn't, so we're just going to make sure. Okay, let's do that one more time again.
second's the curtain, folks.
Your favorite podcast, it's Critical Blast.
StreamYard, I love you, but someone's really got to do something about the latency on those button clicks. Everybody, please welcome Edwin Acevedo to the show. It's been a while, man. How you been doing?
I've been good, just grinding and working on comics, trying to, do this comic book thing. So yeah, it's been fun.
That's when I notice you online is, hey, look, I did a thing and I've done another thing and I'm doing more of the same thing. It's never this, oh man, can you believe what this political party did or that political party? I don't see you engaged in that. Maybe I'm missing it, but
no, there's, nobody cares about my opinions on politics. I'll share it with my friends, that's why I have the Hardline DM group, the offer hangouts. That's when I give my opinions on stuff, but I'm trying to make fun comics and I'm trying to get people to give them a chance and fulfilling them too. So, that's kind of what I'm focused on.
So what comic, what number comic is this? You've been at this a couple of issues now. This is number 1, but you've done books before this.
Yep. This is my 4th different project. I've done Ace Volume 1 and 2. I crowdfunded those through Indiegogo. Raider the White Leopard was my last campaign. That's through Fund My Comic. And this is now the Bloodbone Second Chance campaign. I did the first one through PayPal last year. Since it's an Ashcan, I kind of followed along the steps of Joe Sontag and some of those guys. But, a lot of people kind of missed out on it. They've been kind of asking if, I was going to do a second chance. And, thanks to Fund My Comic, that avenue's open now. So it was pretty easy to do.
So you must have done pretty well with the previous Fund My Comic book to, come back and give it another shot.
Yeah, it's about halfway fulfilled right now. So people are getting their books. By the end of the year, everything should be out, including the original art. So like I said, it's about making comics, but also getting them in people's hands. And when people, there's a guy who tweeted out earlier today that he got his comic, and that makes my day, man. Doesn't matter what's going on, knowing that people actually getting in, they're excited. They're happy to read it. That's what it's all about for me. So,
yeah, it's no good to make the comic if nobody's reading it. If you just make it and put it in your closet, it's just a waste of your time. Got an active chat out here. Will, good to see you out there. Creators Outlet, Creators Outfit. Yeah, he's got a wardrobe store now. Will, glad you're here, man. Mike Walters is here to drop in and like and share and say hi. We always appreciate that. Whitefire Comics is here. Hello, Whitefire. Also got Gray Wolf Graphics out there. George, stop that. George Peter Gatz is in the chat. Always glad to have George here. So it's people are watching. I don't know why. It has to be you because it's definitely not me. So,
people love hearing about comics, man. I love hearing from new creators and finding about their projects. So thankfully, there's a little audience here that's down with that. So shout out to them.
So would I be wrong in assuming that Bloodbone is 90s inspired?
Oh yeah, it's straight from like 1995. I wanted to give people that visceral kind of like, oh, this sounds similar to stuff we've seen in the past, but then obviously do more kind of updated storytelling and kind of put my own twist on it.
So what is the twist on Bloodbone? I mean, I love that. I can't believe the name wasn't used in the 90s, when we had like Razor Claw and, everything else going on.
Yeah. So, the thing about Bloodbone is it plays on a lot of kind of familiar tropes, but I'm hoping to tackle it from like a different angle. Like there's a lot of mystery. Like you don't find out what Bloodbone's name is. Like at least you won't find out early on. You kind of get crumbs of his past. It's basically a lot of mystery that's involved in like a more traditional comic book story would. Like we have this kind of nameless, faceless corporation that he's trying to track down and figure out why they've taken over his city that he loves. And so there's a lot of mystery, a lot of intrigue playing with the big kind of hulking action kind of bruiser type character that you've seen kind of in the past, kind of mixing a lot of those kind of different elements that you don't normally find in this type of book.
So I'm putting the banner up here so people can read it, but you can't click that, folks. But if you want something to click, the link to Fund My Comic for this comic is right below the video. So just, scroll up a little bit. It's the very first thing you'll see. Hit that, opens up in a whole new window. It'll be the Fund My Comic page, and you'll know you're there because it'll look something like this. So you got $594 raised so far. That's over the halfway mark and plenty of time to go. But folks, that's no excuse to wait plenty of time. Fund it early so that Edwin can, sleep at night and just check it every once in a while to see how much money he's made.
Yeah.
I'll make him check it every 10 minutes to see if he's funded or not. So we watched the video, but fill me in on what would you elevator pitch this story as? If you were in an elevator and there's the Netflix guy and he's got his wallet out and he's dropping dollar bills, what would you say? Hey, this is my story to get money out of him.
Yeah, so my pitch is usually Bloodbone's a story of a man who returns to his hometown after being gone for several years, and he finds that it's been overtaken by a criminal enterprise. So he decides to become a vigilante to take his city back. So like I said, the idea of Bloodbones, basically, he's been gone for several years. He grew up in this beautiful kind of metropolis. It is a city with a lot of great people. It's a city that you feel like you could grow up to be anything. And he goes out and he leaves the city and he experiences life. And then a lot of stuff happens to him in the years that he's gone. So, when he comes back, he's completely changed. So he's looking for home. He's basically looking to find that feeling of when he was younger. So he goes back to his hometown and then he sees that it's been turned from a beautiful metropolis to Gotham. This criminal organization has basically bought off the politicians. They bought off the police. And there's a lot of people that he grew up with that are suffering and in pain. And he's, like I said, he's been changed. So he decides to basically take matters into his own hands because he can, as you can see. He can take matters into his own hands. You
take all the matters into one hand.
Yeah.
I love the fact that this guy is built like the Hulk and has to wear a mask so nobody knows who he is. Because I would think that a pair of glasses on him and a suit are not going to disguise him very much.
No.
You don't know who he is just by looking. Like, holy crap, why is he wearing that white thing on his face? He's I know this guy. So he's well trained in violence. I would take it. He's learned somewhere in his travels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like I said, we will give you little crumbs from his past. We'll kind of get to see glimpses of what he's been up to and kind of how he got to this point. But I wanted to really have a comic that there's almost like two different genres or themes that are put together, like I said, in a different way. This is very much action packed, but Bloodbone doesn't really talk a lot. Like you'll get some of his like thoughts on the page, but as far as like him verbally, he doesn't really verbalize a lot. He doesn't have to. Like here, he basically interrupts this meeting from a lot of like the underbosses from this corporation, and he's not there giving quips or like throwing one-liners or be like, I'm here, I'm Bloodbone, I'm here to. No, he just starts tearing shit up. Like he literally just shows up and just starts destroying everything and leaving bodies in his wake. And he basically speaks by his actions, and I found that such an interesting character to write compared to like other stuff that I've done, like with Ace. Like there's a lot of inner kind of dialogue, a lot of you basically see a lot of stuff through Ace in the comic. This is very much kind of like it's action. It's you don't really read him much, and I find that to be super interesting. He's basically almost like two different characters in the way that I kind of approach it.
Yeah, I love the exaggerated style in this.
Yeah.
It's I almost want to say cartoony, but then I feel like cartoony feels like it's an insult when I'm just going to say exaggerated.
Yeah.
And this would lose a lot of its appeal if it were color.
Yeah.
So I think black and white really works for this.
Yeah, I like the grittiness of it. Every time I see like black and white pages of Bloodbone, it has that kind of like almost like that old school Ninja Turtles feel to me. Like I want
Yeah.
to do that gritty kind of like, just it's on the page, it's there. Like you'll get the colored cover, and then like when you look at the art, it's like pure grit and just like violence. And I think you should get away with more stuff if it's in black and white too. So
Uh, tat, tat. Sound effects here. Tat 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 tat. More Uzi sounds.
yeah,
This is some Don Martin stuff here out of Mad Magazine. Like grab. There's a sound effect for you. Grab.
yeah,
Uh, and cool. It actually looks like it's like following his arm. That's not like written on the back of his glove for real, is it? That's a sound effect, right?
yeah, it's a sound effect. Yeah,
Okay. Because making it part of the costume and the body like that, I've never seen that done before. So is this, this is obviously going to have a lot of humor in it on top of all the graphic violence.
it'll have some humor. Like we didn't make it like a, you know, like a Marvel kind of quipathon and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we have some humorous elements to kind of break up the violence, so it doesn't take itself too serious. It's not too dour. Want to kind of avoid a lot of tropes that I've seen in different other comics. Like they're just violence for violence sake and don't really offer anything. The violence here, you can feel justified because the people Bloodbone goes after are criminals. Like these people are scumbags. They've killed people, they've tortured them, they've done all sorts of bad stuff. So you don't have to feel about questioning when he's ripping through these guys, that they deserve it. They've done a lot of shady stuff. Like this organization only hires the worst. So you can only you can feel free when Bloodbone's tearing into them. You don't have to worry about morality or anything like that.
You can still laugh at it though, because I mean, look at the expressions on these guys' faces here, folks.
Yeah.
It's just like that oof and this looks like I think I know that guy. It looks like one of the guys that was in Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns as a interviewed head. I just kind of remember that Bert looking kind of.
Yeah.
And he's a little terrified, and rightly so. Oh shit! I thought Bloodbone was big. How does this guy fit in a house?
That's an interesting question. The thing about when I was doing this, I wanted to do a superhero book that didn't have like a lot of over the top superheroes. Like there's no Superman in this universe. There's no like Wonder Woman. Like even Bloodbone, like he has super strength. He has some other abilities, but he can get damaged. He can get killed. He can get bodied up. So I wanted to have like enhanced individuals. It's very much kind of like early Marvels, like characters like Rhino, like Doc Ock, that they're all kind of enhanced Vulture, they have like enhancements to them. I don't really consider them like kind of super powered kind of characters. So we kind of do some more of that, a little more street level, a little more kind of realistic, even though it's its own superhero universe. Like I said, complete 180 from Ace. So that's kind of how we deal with kind of like the characters in this world.
So he is a little bit amped up above a normal human. I mean, he's that because he's just so damn big. But there's icing on that cake that makes him a little bit even more formidable. And then this next guy is just freaking juggernaut. So there's nothing normal about this guy. There's superpower involved with this.
Yeah.
All them biceps and itty bitty head. which makes sense. I keep scrolling back to look at him because like he's just that impressive. So I'm taking it that Bloodbone has a love interest in town.
No, Bloodbone. This is actually I added some additional pages to the Ashcan. The original pages are done by Donald. So I hooked up with Maxi Dallo to do these 4 pages. They're actually going to be in another project, but I'm not sure if that project's happening or not. So I took the opportunity to put him in this kind of second chance. So he did a 4-page short story that gives you like a glimpse of like how some of the people in the city view Bloodbone. Like he's basically a vigilante, but there's kind of like there's always prices to be paid for all your actions, and he's basically trying to stop this serial killer that you see there, the Raka, from murdering this young girl, and Bloodbone does what he does. So it's a really fun little short story. Maxi Dallo's art, I'm a really big fan of. I love his take on Bloodbone, and like I said, it gives you some additional material to the ash can, which is a lot of fun to do.
Absolutely. So Bloodbone's doing this to save his city. Why? City is just a bunch of buildings and stores and a place you used to be as a kid.
Yeah.
Are there people there that he's connected to? Do we have an adjoining cast of people that we get to know? His Aunt May.
There will be. Bloodbone is very much a solo player. So there won't be one of my problems, even though I compare Bloodbone a lot to the first couple seasons of Arrow, that the problem with those shows is they became just like filled with tons of guest characters and everybody finding out who Arrow was, and just like it just became unbearable. Like there's 35 people in the cave and everybody knows who Arrow is. It's just like, what are we doing here?
Arrow and Flash, first 2 seasons, we got this voice modulation thing here to disguise who we are, and they just threw that away. I mean, come on, that couldn't have cost that much for a special effect.
Yeah,
no, everyone knows who I am anyway.
Yeah, so you'll see kind of Bloodbone interacting with some people from the city that he's known in the past, but it's really, we're gonna dive deep into Bloodbone. I think there's a lot of mystery to him. There's a lot of layers to his character, to his past, to what drives him. So we're gonna basically focus on him, but we'll definitely be bringing in some people from his past. But I didn't want to make this about like, him having like his tech guy. Every show had like a tech guy that helps, like, like I didn't want to hit any of those tropes. So like he's basically a one-man army. He can so excuse me, you're gonna focus on him, his story, some of his mystery, his past, and as we unveil and you find out more about him, then there'll be more time to bring in kind of side characters. But mostly like the supporting cast is actually the villains from the corporation, which you kind of get to meet and you get to know. Like there's a lot of stuff going on with this corporation. I compare a lot to like the TV show The Pretender, for anybody who who's a TV head like I was.
Jared was my hero, man. I love that.
Jared fighting the corporation, and you find out about a lot of the corporation characters. They become main characters. There's a lot of those kind of similar elements. You'll get to see different people from the corporation that will take up some of the pages, and you'll get some of their insight and backstory as far as Bloodbone also.
Yeah. So this is an ash can, and it's got the additional story is a 4-page short story that Maxi Dallo put in. How big is this book overall?
So it's 16 pages.
Okay, so 12 pages of Bloodbone and then 4 pages of the short story, the additional short story.
Yep.
All right, and folks, you can get that. You can get the PDF here for $12, or for $3 more, you can actually get a physical copy in your hands. So I know what I would pick. It is all black and white, right? You haven't colored any of this.
No, the only thing colored is the cover. Everything else in the interiors is black and white.
And it's very, very easy to read campaign here, folks. It's here's the book, $15.
We had some of the original ash cans like these but these sold out actually. So thank you to everybody who bought one.
Oh, so this is a new and exclusive cover to FMC then.
Yeah, the Shelby cover is exclusive to Fund My Comic. And this version will
before,
be exclusive.
get it again.
And we're also doing the sketch covers, the blank sketch covers, which are awesome. Actually, I have a proof on the way. Yeah.
Now that will be blank. I mean, that's not like hey, can they reach out to you and say, hey, when you send mine out, can you sketch something on it and tell me what a commission is or something?
No, you don't want me drawing on these. I barely do stick figures. So you hit up one of your favorite artists, hit up Shelby, hit up Joe Ball. I'm sure they can hook you up with something nice. But I'm the right guy to hit up for
that. That's interesting to me because normally you would think that people who want to make comic books, they draw to some degree and they want to get into drawing comic characters.
Yeah.
What is it that if you're a writer and you're creating stuff, why do you write it in a comic book form as opposed to, an adventure novel?
Yeah, like like everybody else, I had dreams of being a Marvel artist. I wanted to be in the bullpen, all that kind of stuff. I used to read all those Stanley soap boxes, in the comics. But it just, I never had the skill. But I tried my heart out, but it just wasn't to be. I'm somebody, I can visualize everything in a comic book. As I put stuff together, I literally see it in my head. I just can't put it on a page, in a way that's gonna be that people would pay for, really. So that's why you kind of have to know kind of your role in life, and found that I can express my way through this writing, and I love comic books. Like them, comics and pro wrestling were like my loves as a kid. I was growing up, early '90s baby. Going through the spinner rack, finding X-Men, finding Spider-Man, finding Darkhawk, all these cool little Marvel comics at first, then DC. They changed my life. I was so into them, like through like high school. Like I was just the thing that I loved, that and watching wrestling on like the weekends were my two things. So yeah.
Yeah, you're like me then. I can't draw to save my life. I have an 8-page story coming up in Out of Obscurity, which was also on Fun My Comic, and I drew the stick figures for that so that I could actually write the script to the story. I would rather write another 100,000-page novel, 100,000 word novel rather. That would be a big book. Than to write another 8-page comic story, because that was just hard to write and to make it follow the format. It's a real effort put in on that. But I can art direct. I can tell people this is. I know the terminology.
Yeah.
I know foreshortening. I know Dutch angle. I know all the jargon. I just my hands and my brain don't communicate with each other when it's holding a pencil to make it actually happen. So I tell someone else. And are a lot of your scripts that way then, where you have like a certain percentage of the actual story, and then the rest of it is notes to the artist saying this is how this should look, or do you just say read the story and you can figure out how it looks?
I know they're very kind of detailed. Like basically, I go page by page, panel by panel. But basically, the idea is like, I trust the guys that I hire, so I know like, look, if I'm gonna give you 5 panels here, if you can tell this in 3 or 4, and make and get everything that's on that I wrote in there, do it. Like I'm not stuck. You don't have to have as many panels. You can add a panel, you can take one away, you can twist it. I trust what you can do, especially with guys that I worked with multiple times. Like I work with Donald. He's done covers for the Ace, he's done covers for Raid. I've commissioned them for stuff. He did these 12 pages here, which are incredible. And a lot of the stuff on here, you'll see like, he'll take like one panel away, he'll add a panel, he'll do something, he'll twist the camera view for something that I wrote. But what's on the page is basically what's on the page. So that's kind of how it comes together.
Yeah, I love when artists can do dynamic kind of paneling where like, hey, I described 4 panels. I didn't say anything about one of them being a great big diagonal triangle coming down the end of the page, but man, it looks cool.
Yeah.
So stick with that. The other tier here, folks, is you can get 1 book, you can get a blank book, you can get 2 books. We're done. Or is there? Oh, there's more. Wait, there is more. But you can get the 2 books for $25. That's a steep discount over the second cost of the book. Let's see if there is. Okay, I was wrong. Everything else is sold out. So you have reached people on this campaign, and they've taken all the special goodies.
Yep, we had some Bloodbone sketch cards by Shelby. Those sold out the first day. I'll probably have some in the next couple of weeks. Anthony Figueroa did some really sick Bloodbone ones. So, oh, there we go. Backer.
Well, we have had some action on this,
Thanks,
which
guys.
we want to thank the chat for that. And the way we thank our chat for helping campaigns out is we have what we call our shake and bake moment, Edwin, and it goes something like this.
It's shake and bake, and I help.
So whoever it was in the chat that helped, we do appreciate you putting money behind this campaign. Makes me look good. Makes me look like I'm doing something for for the guests. I have a reason to be here. It could have come from somebody who just found you on Fun My Comic, not even watching the show, but we're going to claim credit because it happened during the hour. So yeah, you are now just $386 away from funding. Is this one of those ones where you have to reach the whole goal, or is this one of the ones where whether you make it or not, you're shipping the books out?
I mean, at the point that we're at now, I could fulfill it with this amount. Like everything's already been done. Like as far as like art and everything, I'm not waiting on anything. Like the print file's already set up. I just have to get a quote from my printer, really. So everything's kind of good to go. But yeah, the more we can do, you know, there's always fun stuff we can add, or you know, just kind of helps kind of set up the next campaign, which is coming early next year. So you know, it's all appreciated. Keep grinding. Like I said, my campaigns they only run for a limited amount of time, usually 3-4 months. I'm not looking to keep stuff in stores, or you know, just kind of, you know, I believe that crowdfunded comics should be, you know, crowdfunded and then fulfilled. You know, like I've got 3 fulfilled campaigns. I'm halfway through fulfilling Raid of the White Leopard, which should be completely done by the end of the year. You know, and then we start the next one. You know, never get too far ahead. So, like I said, these campaigns run, they fund, and then when I get that money, they get shipped out to you. So, kind of
Keep
how
it
the
feeling
plan is.
special that way.
Yeah.
So, is there a problem with having a 16-page book? Because I publish things, and I know that, like, you know, my printers are like, we have to have a minimum of so many pages if you want to have, you know, a decent spine. I guess you're going to be, you know, you have to staple at 16 pages.
Yeah. No, like since it's in Ashcan, it's pretty standard. I think the smallest they can do is 8 pages.
Okay.
So anything above 8 is, you know, as long as it's in 4, you're good to go. They can make them and print them. Like I said, I already had the same printer which did the foil Ashcan is this new one. So I already know the quality is going to be there, and then you know they have the files and everything, so it should be
That's good.
pretty standard. Yeah.
You got a good printer to work with then.
Yeah.
When you say Ashcan, back in the 80s and 90s, when I saw Ashcan books,
Mhm.
they looked like they were done on mimeograph machines and literally stapled at your desk. Not even down the spine sometimes, because they were literally, you know, like, hey, this is the book we're doing, you know, get excited about it, and you know, when it's real, find it as a comic book. Is your Ashcan full 6 1/4 by 10 3/4, or is it shrunk down, sort of a digest sized?
Oh no, it's the full the original kind of like the wizard Ashcan kind of size. It's kind of like what I consider Ashcan. So if you see like
Okay,
yeah, you see right there, this is like
let me
the
give you the full
original.
screen here.
Yeah.
So the one in front is Ashcan.
Yeah, and then this is Raid of the White Leopard, standard comic book size comic.
Okay,
And
so it
then
is a little smaller
you
than in
know, yeah.
dimension.
Yeah,
That's
well, it's
that's
basically just miniaturized, you know, like it's basically it's got the staples, got the quality of the pages are there, so all of that stuff. So it's
true
just a little kind
Ashcan.
of smaller form, yeah. Like so I'm a big fan of those like wizard ash cans and all that stuff. I grew up as, like I said, 90s baby, so I'm familiar with all that stuff. I used to try and track those down. So you know,
Rosetta.
it's kind of
I
what up.
I'm on at the same time every time I come on, but I know that, you know, it depends on where you are and what you're doing. Uh, and I haven't done as many shows recently too, so you might not have even seen me on. You are all gray in the chat. Why are you all gray in the chat? Um, Everybody's gray in the chat. Everybody's name is gray, unless you have a wrench like George does. Then you're blue. You don't want to be blue. George is used to being blue. He's, you know, he's the blue guy. Edwin, I don't know what more to ask you about Bloodbone, because we've covered, you know, the size and the dimensions of the thing and the page count. We've got the story. We've seen the campaign go up. But because you've done previous books, I know that you've got to be planning future books. I mean,
Mhm.
there's what's the calendar look like for everything you're getting ready to go on?
Yeah, so early next year I'm doing Ace Volume 3. Right now it's about halfway colored. I'm just waiting to get it fully colored up and lettered. That should be done by the end of the year. So that campaign will be fully all set to go when it launches, probably around March of next year. And then after that, probably in the fall, it'll be Bloodbone #1. Me and Joe Ball, we're doing like a full size Bloodbone. It's gonna be insane. Like it's, I already got some pages and stuff. You know, Joe's finishing up Death. So that's his main priority. But he's had me giving me some pages in between that, and it's gonna be a monster. And I'm super excited for. Like I said, I think it's a great primer. If you kind of want to get into this Bloodbone world, you can grab this ash can. Like I said, it'll be fulfilled pretty quickly once kind of the 90 days run out. Proofs should already be ordered, and I just place the orders and have all the supplies and everything. So it should be fulfilled, pretty quickly. And then, we'll be all hands on deck with Ace.
So you haven't reached the point in making comics yet where you look at it and say, okay, done that. I'm happy. Let's go do something else with my life.
No, I got a 5-year plan. We're about 3 years in. So we'll see what happens at the end of the 5 years. But I've been having a blast, man. Like, there's nothing like putting all your time, energy into these, and then you look at it and you hold it in your hand and it comes out great. That makes my day, man. And then we'll get in their hands and they tweet about it. That's fantastic,
Yeah, I agree. When you publish something and it's suddenly a thing in your hand. I've been publishing for a while now, and it's still, every time a new book comes out, like Monsters Next Door, when we just finished up, the box comes in, I'm like, oh, it's real. It's a thing.
Yeah, it's like there's something about holding it in your hand. You can flip through it. You see, like, it becomes so real, like from seeing it in digital form. It's crazy. So
it's it's like waiting that 9 months, and then suddenly there's arms and legs and kicking, and you're like, oh, when the book's done, the book's done. You don't have to take care of it the rest of its life. Actually, you do. If you're a publisher, you've got to start promoting the thing, and you never quit promoting, right? You
never.
You go to a bunch of cons and set up tables.
I'm looking to start setting up. There's a couple of local ones I'm waiting to hear back from that are going to be running early next year. So I got some. I got to reach out and double check. Yeah, so hopefully, I know the Diaz boys can provide some of the little things for the tables and all that stuff. So if they give me the go-to, I'll probably be do 2 or 3 next year.
Yeah, you gotta get all the important things for the table. Like, you don't want to just have like a wooden table and then you just put books on it. People don't stop. You got to have the tablecloth. It's got to have your logo on it. You got to have banners behind you. If by chance one of your characters in your books is female, then you get a booth babe to dress as her, and she hangs around the booth, and people come to see her, and then they buy comic books without even realizing it, because they're just like, yeah, hi, how you doing? Pops, how you doing tonight, man? Glad you're in the chat. Yeah, we've got to get back to doing some panel shows, I suppose. I mean, I've had people asking about the LCS guys show, because I'll be honest with you, Edwin, I got tired of doing it for a while. I was like, I feel like, why am I doing this?
I have no idea.
Like,
what it takes to run a stream, like, it's one thing to be on a stream, but what it takes to actually run a stream, people have no idea. Like, there's so many things to juggle, like, and doing that consistently, it's been killer. Like, I do mine in waves. Like, I'll stream hard for like 3-4 months, and then I'll take a couple 3-4 months off, because I just,
for the longest time, I'd look at my calendar. If I didn't have a stream like that night and it was like noon, I'd be like all over Twitter, like, who's got a book they got to promote? I got to get a show going here. And now it's like, I look at the calendar at like 4 in the afternoon. It's like, I don't have to do anything tonight. And it felt kind of good. So I've gone back and forth. Like, I've got shows booked up for the next 2 weeks. I'm like, I've got a day of the week I don't do shows. I'm like, I will not do shows on that day unless somebody asks me to. And then I'll say, okay, fine, we'll do a show. But all the shows I've got right now have been people who've said, hey, can we do a show? I'm like, okay, that's better than me going on the hunt all the time.
Yeah.
That's all right. We got backstage creepers here. Pops, what's going on, man?
What's up? What's up? I had to come out and say hi to Edwin. I got him coming on the show next week.
That's right.
You know what's up. Bloodbone, everybody.
Let's do it. Get this bad boy funded.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That's what it's for.
What are you talking about, RJ? Look what I got, RJ. Look.
What do you got? Let me give you a big screen here.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, Pariah Blood and Mud.
Doc Blaylock. Pariah Blood and Mud.
Did he sign it for you?
I do not think so. I don't think Doc ever saw him. I think they went straight out from Anthony, straight out from Dark Gift. But this was I proofread that one. I get a little credit on that one.
Oh, get your name in it.
Well, my name goes in a lot of them, you know. But I mean, I was the first backer on that book. That's my co-host Doc from the CromCon. You guys know, does the coffee shop on Wednesdays. Good dude. And yeah, we just unboxed it just a minute ago on Matt and Ron show. I wanted to come out and say it.
I hope I backed it. I thought I did, but you know,
I know there's so many, dude. It's hard to keep track. I just went today and looked at all the ones that I have that are like way overdue. And that kind of made me mad, and I said something.
See, that's a problem I have not had. I've got 2 books in my life that I funded that I consider late, and I'm like, I'm never going to get those. One guy's dead, and the other guy's in jail. I'm like, yep, you know what? Let's take the loss.
Well, these are more like prevalent and bigger, but anyway, like, I'm just saying, guys. Oh, yeah.
These are available on our website.
Yeah, guys, go get one.
We've got a link in our Twitter if you want. If you're a patch guy, you just want to put something on your jacket or on your shirt. Those are out there. I need to put that link below too.
I did just add a trailer down there to the bottom of your list. You might not have this yet. It's the new one, Hogzilla.
Let's
you wait till the end of the show. You don't do that in the middle of Edwin's show here. You give this guy his stuff. You play the ads at the end. Dude,
I know. Well, you know what I ought to do is I ought to have him up here because it is, his show.
You know how to do this, RJ.
Right, guys. I'm running things now. What do you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, I'll give you an ad, man. I'm going to go to the bathroom.
I want to watch your trailer if you didn't play it
yet. You know what? We did, but we'll do it again because
I want to see your trailer.
Why not? Let me start. I gotta do special things. I gotta start playing it. You know what? I did a couple of days ago. I ran somebody's trailer like this instead of stealing it, and I put it on my other monitor, and I said share monitor. And when you do that, it doesn't automatically share the sound. And I forgot that, and I played the whole trailer muted. So when I'm playing this one, I'm like, oh shit, I'm not getting any sound out of this, I bet. So I stopped it and I shared again, but I shared the tab this time, and that does automatically share the sound. I'm like, oh, that just doofed up the whole thing.
Come on, you've been doing this long enough, RJ. Come on.
I forget stuff. So let's take a look at the full trailer again.
Just get us off the screen. Full screen. Yeah. Come in here and take over our show. That's right.
That big guy always just gets me. That's just a huge effort.
That Fund My Comic. I wore my street team shirt to Grand Rapids Comic Con yesterday.
Oh, did you now?
Oh, yes, I did. Because, got to represent.
Got to. We were talking about doing panel shows, and I was telling Eagle Rider there that I kind of quit doing them, but as soon as I quit, Mike Walters started. So yeah, on Saturday nights, go hit his show up. Go to the mic stand and subscribe there. There's always a panel going on, and in fact, you can hit him up in about 13 minutes here at the top of the hour for his the mic stand, where he goes through the night of niche news, everything in comics, manga, anime, and professional wrestling. So I always encourage everybody to go out there and give that a like and a subscribe. Man, you want to talk about me getting tired of doing it too many nights a week? Mike is out there every single night, no fail, except for Thanksgiving night and Christmas night. And it's a consistent schedule. Monday through Thursday goes over the news. Friday he's doing the comic book historical retrospective, where we get on there and we read Golden Age comics out loud with voices and sound effects, and it's just a lot of fun. We're going through history. We're in late 1939 right now.
Haven't you guys been on late 1939 for about 2 years now?
No, not really. Not really.
You ain't got out the 30s yet.
Oh,
Please, guys, come on.
They were publishing more titles in the 30s
No,
than they are now.
I do remember like 2 years ago talking to Mike about August of 38, because that was the year my mom was born.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys are only on late 39 now. Come on.
Yeah,
Man.
so we're like in December of 39, so we're getting ready to move in. But
I'm just giving you guys shit. You know that. You guys put out content, man. That's what it's all about.
right, it was a big year. I mean, you think about it. The Superman came out, Batman came out during that same 12-month span, 38 to 39. And one of these days, you know what? There's going to be a Mike the Third out there who's going to be doing his show, and they're going to be reading Bloodbone. Like, can you believe this was an ash can at the time? And it was, being sold online. That's how comics had to. That was the big revival of comics. They'll be looking at it like a Renaissance era.
That's the plan. Get these babies out to people,
I got one little update for people who might like, just because Ray popped into chat, I want to let them know. We have a scaled down version of the Roku that we're going to put back up.
Okay.
We are going to offer everything the same as we did. It's just going to be set up a little differently. Okay. We're going to set it up for a 3,500 goal. And that's going where we're setting up everybody's show to go forward from launch date. Okay. If we get to a stretch goal of $5,000, then we will add the tiers for uploading previous content, because then we'll have the money to pay for the server. Right.
Yep. So are you going to start with a lower goal then?
Right. We're going to come back out with a lower goal, get it funded. And then if we get to that first stretch goal, we'll put all the tiers up there so you can upload content. It's going to be the same campaign. It's just going to be a little bit lower goal. And then if we get to this level, we can do a little more.
Okay. So folks, if you pledged before, pledge again, because
and I wanted Ray to know we're going to put the Roku preview channel up the same time we launch the campaign, so everybody will be able to see it in its exact look, not a false look. It'll be, this is what you're going to be able to see.
So the campaign will be referring now to a network that will actually be in existence, not something planned. That's going to make a big difference, I think.
So everybody, you'll be able to go there. You'll be able to watch 10 shows. They let you put 10 shows up. So we went through 2,600 videos, picked out 10 shows, guys. Holy crap. That was a mess in itself, trying to pick 10 shows out that are entertaining, that people are going to watch and want to come back to watch, right? We got some good stuff. It was hard to choose. We really do. So,
people who've been
we're definitely going to relaunch it. Right now we have a meeting on Thursday night. RJ, I'd like you to be there. If you can, before your show, like at 7:00.
Thursday night at 7:00, I have Aaron Lepresti.
7 Eastern?
No, 7 Central.
Okay, so an hour before.
Okay, that's right. You're north, so there's like a 6-hour time difference.
It's weird, isn't it?
You remember that day, don't you?
Yes, I do.
I showed up late and says, yeah, but you're north of me. There's like a 6-hour time difference. Edwin's like, what the hell are they talking about? And by the way, Edwin's on a good week here, because we're kicking the week off with Edwin. And like I said, Thursday, we got Aaron Lepresti. Tomorrow, we're going through Dracula the Return on Zoop with Chris McCauley and Dacre Stoker. Yeah, that Stoker, the descendant of Bram Stoker.
Right.
The one and only. Yeah.
Been looking forward to seeing something about that with somebody, that we're networked with, Look, we network with enough people that I don't really watch a whole lot of shows outside the network.
You don't have to. It's all here.
I mean, yeah, I just wait for it to come around here. Now, RJ show was a regular on the network, and then YouTube gave him the hammer for being part of the network.
I still support the network, but I had to go back and
and we will be bringing RJ shows to Roku as well.
Yes.
Okay, just because you don't see him on our network now doesn't mean he's not part of what we're building. Just so everybody knows. Okay,
separate but joined. So
yeah, in forced separation, the only way you can get remonetized was to separate yourself from what we were doing. This is the whole thing. What we're talking about. Yeah, this is the whole thing. What we're talking about. Why we're building the Roku is so that shit like that don't happen to you guys. I'm not going to demonetize anybody.
Oh no, no, and I don't think anybody tried to demonetize anybody. It's just YouTube came along and said, "Hey, we've noticed this."
Yeah,
and then they very nicely said, "Why don't you take about 5 minutes, go through your stuff, and fix it all up so that you're not in No, they just said, we see that this is wrong. We're taking all your money away."
See, and that's something we're not going to do to you. If the FCC or DMCA comes to me and says, "Pops, you got to take that show down," okay, well, I'm going to let you know. I'm going to forward you that email. You're going to see it. You're going to know why. There's not going to be any questions. And we're going to take that one show down. But we're not going to demonetize all of your content because of one show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just, yeah, network sounds very interesting.
Mr. Yanafui, first of all, you're alive. Glad to see you around.
Yes, good to see you. Ain't seen you in a while.
He's alive.
But yeah, as soon as you do start networking, it gets dangerous because then you become larger than the sum, right?
Pops, what do you think of my
t-shirt? Together make something bigger than 5 people alone, right? I'm just saying,
What do you think of this t-shirt, Pops?
I already saw it. I love it. You know that.
Oh, that's okay. I didn't know if I'd shown you that one or not.
I see it all. See it all one way or another.
It's also in the store. Link below. But everyone, first link is the most important link always. That's why the first link is always going to go to our guest's campaign page. In this case, the Fund My Comic for Bloodbone, the Ash Can.
Oh, yes.
Get that pushed over. I'm going to look at it one more time here because I want to see.
Go to Fund My Comic, get that, and then look at all the other cool stuff. I got a lot of friends over there with books on Fund My Comic, guys. A lot of friends with books.
It's moving books now. I want to see if it's jumped up. It hasn't jumped up again. Boy, I was hoping. But
well, if I'd have thought about putting this on the network, if I'd have thought about adding my channel when I jumped in here, we might have got a few more people watching, but I wasn't even thinking about it. I just Edwin's on RJ, so I'm gonna jump in because I can.
Could have done that.
But he's gonna be on our show on Monday, so we'll get him.
Yes. Edwin, how long of a lifespan do you see for Bloodbone? Just to bring things back around to the topic. I mean, is this an ongoing or is this like it's a 4-issue story about this adventure and then it's done?
No, I see it as an ongoing. Like I said, with Ace, that's kind of my baby. I have like a long-term kind of plan. It's kind of like, I break it down by each issue, by volumes, like it's a whole thing. But Bloodbone is just, when the story feels like it comes to a close, it'll close. But for now, there's a lot of cool stuff. And like I said, just the energy that me and Joe have when we're talking about the character, we're plotting different, storylines and different characters to introduce. We got pretty good number of issues with this. This is going to be a lot of fun. I think people are going to
saving the city could be a never-ending battle.
Everything ends, but we won't get to the Arrow levels where, once people are like, why are you introducing the 35th Arrow cast member, like you run out of stories. You got to end it. So.
Yes, alive, because I haven't seen you.
Yes.
Haven't seen your graceful memery showing up in places. Grey Wolf's going to have a project coming up here, and when you do, I want you to start that campaign, and I want you to come on our show and show people about it. So get it going, get it out there. I'm actually doing a campaign soon.
Nice.
I mentioned that that we've got the 8 pages coming up in Out of Obscurity, but I finally talked to enough of you guys that I figured out, well, hell, if all you guys can do it, surely I can do it, right? So And it's, how hard could it be? So I've got, I'm doing a thing with George Peter Gatzis. We're going to put it on Fund My Comic. It's going to be a 34-page hardcover graphic novel, and it's going to be this guy right here.
Man history, man of magic. He's a mother-loving son of a fate most tragic. His black mystic arts kung fu is undeniable. His mojo with the ladies is simply indescribable. Can you dig it? He's half vampire, bloodsuckers can't stop him. Half werewolf, half zombie, no way you're gonna top him. High kicking, ass kicking, master of his trade. He's half movie star, you don't need no shaft to blade.
And we'll have a better video, obviously, when we get to a launch point, but that's just me playing around with ideas.
Come on, that was Pimp Lee. I like it.
Oh, we got a longer song, but it's it grew out of the Monsters Next Door book that we did, and we were doing a little thing, and I looked at George. I'm like, George, this is a much bigger thing that we just birthed here. And he agreed. He's like, we could do this, we could do that. I'm like, we could do this, we could do that. We've got several stories planned out for Sensei Nosferatu Pak. And it's going to lead its way into our other project, which will be launched simultaneously, which I'm not going to show the video for because we haven't made one. But Sensei Nosferatu Pak and Fenton Elephant are going to release simultaneously. And then the book after that will be Sensei Nosferatu Pak versus Fenton Elephant, because their stories will dovetail at the end of each one. You can read either one without reading the other, and you don't have to worry about it. Because that's how comics should be. You shouldn't have to go read Thor number 462 to understand why it's snowing in Amazing Spider-Man number 173. It adds to it, but it doesn't impact the story.
But now, if you hadn't read Thor, you shouldn't be reading Spider-Man. You should read Thor first. I'm just saying.
Yeah. You got to stop. You got to go over to the other book. You got to read it, which comes with a wall of text on the inside cover to tell you everything that happened in the last 317 issues, so that you're up to date.
So yesterday I met Bob Hall. Bob Hall.
Explain.
Bob Hall. Artist, pencilist, assistant editor to Jim Shooter. One of the old school guys, right?
The Hall and Layton kind of poke.
He was at the Grand Rapids Comic Con. So I snatched up some books to run up there and have him sign because, I happen to have some old Thor and some old Avengers and stuff that he actually did covers for and penciled some books and stuff. The one I forgot to take, of course, was the most important one. That was the one I was reading, so it was still sitting here when I left because I was actually reading that one at the time. But
no excuse.
He did. Do you remember the Crusader in Thor?
Honestly, Pops, I'll tell you, I never liked reading Thor. Ever.
Okay. Well, ever. He did the Avengers Yellow Jacket cover.
Okay.
That was him. The Moon Dragon cover with her big old purple forehead.
Okay, I was thinking of the Court Martial cover.
Well, he did the one where Yellow Jackets, like being kicked out or whatever. He did that one. He did the Moon Dragon one. He did the Lady Sif holding Thor on the Rainbow Bridge one. Okay, he did a bunch of good covers, right? But he also did the first appearance of Entreaty the Dwarf in Annual 11. And that's the one I had sitting over here on the fucking table when I left. So the one I wanted to get signed the most is the one I forgot to take. But I think Avengers 214, 217, 219, 220, and Thor 330, 331, and Annual 10 I got signed by Bob Hall.
Nice.
Is this the one you're talking about?
No, the one where they're all facing him and you see his back.
Oh, okay. Well, not that one.
It's got to be the one after that, 214.
Yep, 214, because that was 213. So
yeah. But yeah, I got that one signed and 217, 219, and 220, I think. But he's just the nicest guy, man. I told him I want to, we'll get him out on the show. We'll get him out here. We'll get him in the circuit, dude.
Well, all the old, I won't say all, most of the old timers they loved comics.
Yeah.
It's like when I was talking with Tom DeFalco a couple of months back, it was like, unfortunately,
I hadn't seen Bob Hall on anybody's show. And then when I seen him at the con, I was like, dude, I want to bring you out and, bring you out, talk to you, pick your brain about some of the old school stuff, He was Shooter's assistant editor, man. He's got to have stories, bro.
My bad.
I bet he's got a ton of stories. But you know what? we are over the time. Edwin, this was your show, man, and I hope we talked about everything on the book.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you're like, when's he going to ask me about this so we can actually talk about it? Because I missed stuff.
Yeah, no. Like I said, we pretty much covered all topics. Just letting everybody know this is going to be a great primer for the official Bloodbone #1 that's coming out next year. That's completely action-packed. I think it's Donald's best work. He's done a lot of great stuff that I'm a fan of. I love Brutus. He's done Vestige. But yeah, I think like the pages here are insane. They're right up his alley, and it's got an amazing Shelby cover. So if you like action-packed comics, you like a little mystery, you like some of these characters that have a mysterious past, a lot of action, a lot of intrigue, a lot of cool dynamic art, check out Bloodbone. I think it's going to be a really fun project for everybody to check out.
And to be clear, the ash can is not an excerpt of this book. This is its own standalone thing.
Own story.
The #1 issue will be all new story.
All new pages. Yep.
All right. Very cool. Yeah, I love the characters with mystery. My rule is like, if you have a villain, tell his origin the first time you see him. If you have a character, tell his origin the first time you see him. If you go 4 issues without telling the origin, never tell it. It's too late. That window is closed. Worst thing for me that ever happened was
Logan.
Not
only tell it, but also have a very condensed version of it to drop when you need to reintroduce it to people who may not know his origin. Like a really short version of this, where dude came from.
They did Batman and Superman origins frequently in 2 panels. There it was. But Bloodbone can just stay a mystery. That would be great. Just drop hints of the true background, and just forget about them, and let fans say, "Oh, with all this thing here, it must have been this and this, and I bet this happened." And you don't have to worry about it because you never intend on having a.
I want theories. I want people to come up with their own, like I used to back in the day, be like, "Where did Logan come from? Well, what was his backstory?" I like that mystery. We don't have enough of that. Yeah.
You want people to think outside the box of what you wrote.
Yeah.
You want them to think that. So by all means, man, encourage discussion, especially like you could even put out a poll every now and then. Where do you guys think he came from? Just let the fans
and not put up any correct answers.
Just reply to, "Oh, that's interesting."
Exactly. All right, Edwin, thank you so much for coming on and talking comics with us, man. Especially your comic. That's why we're here, folks. Do come back tomorrow night. We talk with Dacre Stoker and Chris McCauley about Dracula: The Return, which is pretty much Dracula canon. Plus, there's going to be some interesting Bram Stoker information that we'll talk about with, because Dacre knows stuff. It's family talk. So we'll be back for that. Hit the link to the Second Chance campaign below there. If you're still live, you can click the chat. If you're watching replay, obviously the chat's not there, so click the link below the chat and get in there and throw money at this thing. Get this thing funded. You're going to want to have a copy of this, folks. You know what Edwin does. You've seen his previous material, and this is again ash cans of ongoing series. Sometimes are very sought after collectibles. So if you get an ash can of this when Bloodbone #1 comes out, when Bloodbone #1 hits and people start seeing that, to be like, wait, there was an ash can? where can I get that? And your answer is going to be eBay.
Do
if you're lucky.
you remember that the Evil Ernie and Lady Death ash can from way back in the day? I got one of them.
Oh,
Yeah, a
I
bunch of
used to love tracking those down, like all the wizard ones, all like the limited ones, all the early image ones. Those are great.
I've got several Wizard 1/2 issues, man.
Yep, I got some of those too. Yep.
As biased as that magazine was, it made you excited to go to the store and buy comics.
Yes. Yes. And you're supposed to be excited about comics, indie comics.
I remember they started doing like toy pieces in there, even though they had Toy Fair magazine as a sister magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And I was living in North Carolina, and we had gone to Walmart that afternoon, and the Walmart was like 30 miles away. And I was like looking at the Total Justice action figures. So that dates when I was in there looking at stuff.
Right.
And I get home and I've got my Wizard magazine out and I'm reading through it. And there's the toy section. They're talking about the Total Justice stuff. I'm like, oh yeah. They're like, this is the Aquaman variant figure, which is, hard to get because they only made like 1 out of 10 was this. I'm like, there were 3 of them at Walmart. We went back to Walmart at 11:30 at night, 30 miles away, so that I could buy those 3 variant action figures and take them home. And God knows where they're at now. So yeah, I did stupid things because of Wizard magazine, like we all did. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for being here tonight. We don't have a show without you guys coming in to watch. We're just a podcast falling in the woods otherwise, full of sound and fury signifying nothing, if there's a sound at all. I don't know. My metaphors are all mixed up. So we'll just leave it at that. And anyway, while you were here, we just hope you had a blast. Good night, everybody.
Peace.